Okay, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to spotlight my camera. Really excited to be on the line here with each and every one of you today. My name is David Acosta. I'm a three-star director with this phenomenal company, Planet Marketing. So this is a special, slightly different call that we are doing today. Of course, this is part two of the men's locker room call. We had it maybe a few weeks back where it was just packed out with amazing information. People, guys and girls from around the world just tuning in. It was a phenomenal call, a powerful call, an impactful call. And I really know it benefited many people here in the planet. And of course, I am not here alone. I can't wait to introduce my brother in success from all the way across the pond, United States of America. He is what we call a three-star director. This gentleman is a sapphire ring wearer, which indicates making a six-figure income, well over 100,000 US dollars on an annual basis. So I'm really excited to share the line with my brother in success, Michael J. Stewart. So, Mr. Stewart, can you hear me okay?
Absolutely, Dave. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear. I'm just going to pin your video as well so we can, yep, we can see
Okay.
us both. So fantastic.
Okay.
I'm really
Good work.
excited for this. Again, touch on part one. There's some people who are here today who were not
Hmm.
here, when we did part one. So they may be like, what's this all about?
Yeah.
Or, how would you sum up the first call we did, Men's Locker?
Man. Well, listen, first I got to give it back to you. I know you introduced yourself, but I want them to know that you too are founding director here before there was any evidence, which is a big deal, a really big deal. So a pioneer of what we're doing here, right? 10 years later, going into our 10th year, you were boots on the ground from the very beginning. And you too, Don, that presidential sapphire ring on the way to $250,000 in income, which is absolutely huge. And you have an incredible organization spanning from the UK and the US. So just absolutely phenomenal, my brother. I had to give it back to you, and always a pleasure to be on with you from across the pond. I know it's late over there, so we're gonna get in and get out. But
Yeah.
yeah, the last time, David, it was amazing, man. And I kind of want to give just a little bit of backdrop. We saw each other at an event, and we were circled up, and we were just talking about how it is a female dominated industry, especially from the outside looking in. It definitely is, right? There are a lot of females that are winning. We call them our queens, our sisters in success that are absolutely killing it in the business. But from the outside looking in, a person may think that it's a female only business, right? Where only women can win in the business. And I love it. This was your brainchild where you said, you know what, we got to kind of talk about this a little bit and help the men, get their footing, but more importantly, let the world know that the business is not gender specific. So to wrap up the last call, we really just kind of got into right it not being just a woman's business, right? How we really can win the business. We went through some of the challenges that men may have, when it comes to building a business. So a really great call, and it kind of laid the foundation for us to come back again today. So fired up and excited to dive into a couple of topics that we have for today. How
Fantastic.
would you sum it up? Yeah, how would you sum it up as well?
Yeah, for me, I mean, something I've never done before. I mean, the only times I've been involved in a locker room is at convention where it's hosted
Mm-hmm.
by our founder and chief, Mr. Donald Bradley. So this was something very different for us. We didn't
Mm-hmm.
prep, we didn't, work something out. Again, birds of a feather flock together. We are both,
Mm-hmm.
the grandchildren of Mr. Bradley. He's our one of our millionaire mentors, and he personally has guided us, in this journey. So I already knew we could bounce off each other with some questions, with some statements, which some of the team gave to us, and we just had a phenomenal call. It was very impactful. And I know I saw a change in some of the men in the attitude,
Mm-hmm.
in the mindset, straight after that Zoom. So it was very impactful. And again, maybe there'll be a part three. We definitely want to get more feedback. And on this call, guys, please feel free if you have questions. We are this is for the guys, for the girls, questions on being a man in this business, questions on how to, whether you're talking about how to approach men or women from all different genders, if you are someone who's struggling as a man in any part of the business, please don't be shy. Fire away your question in the chat box. We're going to give a section where we can unmute the mics and ask anyone any questions. So we want to make it fairly interactive. Me and Jay are definitely going to go back and forth on few different topics we've already got from you guys, but we do want to open this up to you. Jay, you mentioned across the pond, and I can see we've got some of our brothers in success. I think Mr. Rohan Moore, I believe, correct me if I'm
Mhm.
wrong, I think our top income earner in Barbados. So,
Wow.
so I think he's on the line as well. And I know I'm going to get him to speak later on as well. We've got Willie Cooper, my big brother out there in the big New York, the Big
Hmm.
Apple NYC. So I don't know, Willie, again, if you're also happy to chime in. So much value, so much knowledge, so much wisdom in this business, another founding director. So it'll be great to, hear from some of the other men on the line as well. But yeah, let's dive in. I think, I mean, you've got some questions from the team. And I'll pass the first one over to you, Jay.
Okay.
I think it's a question from someone in your team, which
Hmm.
states, how are men winning in a female-dominated industry? I think
And that's
think of.
and that's the loaded question, right? We just went from 0 to 60 really, really quickly.
Yeah.
Man, my short answer, David, to that, how are men winning in a female dominated industry? It's kind of twofold. One, in a major way, right? Those that are participating and those that are actively engaged and actively building a business, where the industry of network marketing, I just looked up some statistics, 75% women, 25% male, right? And listen, I don't want the females to start throwing stuff or like getting mad at us on here, right? But even though it's a female dominated industry by numbers, a lot of times the top income earners, right, are male, right, across in a lot of companies. And so that's just facts. Not Jay saying that, right? So don't get mad at me, right? But we know here in Planet Marketing, it's a level playing field, right? We have so many females at the top of the totem pole. So men can win in a major way if they see an opportunity for themselves. And we're going to get into some of those questions, but if they really see themselves and they really apply themselves, then they apply what they would apply anywhere else. Right. And that's the nature of the beast, is them being who they are, but being it over here. And I think a lot of times men don't see themselves or don't win in the industry because they don't see themselves. Right. They don't see themselves. They see the 75% women, and they say, well, is it a space for me? Absolutely it is. So my short answer, and I know we'll unpack this a little more, is that men are winning in a major way in the business if they literally put their best foot forward in the business like they would anything else. Then what's your perspective?
I love that. I love that. It's a solid answer. And for me, again, what I love about network marketing in general is network marketing to me is the only industry I know of that pays men and women the same, blacks and whites the same, young and old the same. If you went to Yale or you went to jail, it's going to pay you the same. So we might look at a female dominated industry. We might look at in Planet Marketing, it's more women doing the business than men, but it's irrelevant. It's not about how many people are doing this on the left and doing this on the right. It's about you. Whether you're a man or woman, young or old, black, white, doesn't matter. If you do what you're supposed to do, you will get paid. So are men winning in a female dominated industry? It doesn't matter. If you're in it, you can earn whatever you need to earn for your family. If you hit the rank of six-star director, you're taking home $1 million a year to your family. Your family know that you earn $1 million a year. I can promise you that your family will not say, hey, dad, hey, mom, thank you so much for this $1 million a year you're giving to our household. Thank you so much for the mansion we're living in. Thank you so much for the Lamborghini you bought me for my 18th birthday. Thank you so much for paying off my debt. Thank you so much for paying off my college tuition. Thank you so much for paying for security. Thank you so much for the amazing food we get to live. But is there any females earning more than you? No one cares. You go out there and get the money that your family need. Your family do not care if you're in the top 10 income earners. They do not care if there's somebody who's got a bigger ring than you. They do not care if someone in your downline hit Sapphire before you. They do not care if you wear the Rolex watch or you have a bronze pin. They don't care. If you bring home enough bacon, even for the vegans, if you bring home the money, that's all your family care about. They don't care about the comp plan. They don't care if you've maxed out this leg. They don't care about how many people on your level six. They care about, are you bringing home the money to change their life? Are you providing as a man, as a woman, like you said you would? You took time away from the family, you neglected the family, you made some sacrifices to focus on this Planet Marketing thing. And after, 10 years, if you haven't done anything with it, that's what they care about. Mummy, why are you still going to those meetings? Daddy, why do you still do these Zooms? You've been doing this for 9 years and you haven't made $50, right? And that can't be because of the company. The level of support goes all the way up to Donald Bradley. And Donald Bradley is very good at helping people. Very simple, get one. And he shows you how to just get one. He's outworking even me. There's some people that I wanted to sponsor that would have taken me to 4 star. And as I reached out to them, they'd already joined because Donald recruited them. He's a CEO, he's a father, he's a husband, he's running the planet, and he's still out prospecting me, right? And that's my mentor. I get to look up to him and say, there's no excuse for me. I haven't got any kids yet. At the time, being a single guy, and this guy's outworking me while wearing the CEO hat, while being a husband and a father, just showing how to get it done. So yes, it's a female dominated industry, but it's irrelevant how many women are doing it. All your family do not care how many women are in the industry, who's in the top 10 income earners. Is it Rachel Lowry, is it Natalie Graham? They don't care. They care about you. What are you doing for the family? Right. And that's what I would say. Don't be looking at the numbers and the statistics. What I love about network marketing is if you do the work, you get the pay. Now, if it was in the corporate world, then yes, there might be a quota to say we can only have so many female execs. Sometimes some of these jobs say, okay, we can only have this many male execs because we've got a quota to meet. We've got to employ a certain amount of black people. We've got to employ a certain amount of white people. We've got to employ a certain amount of females. We've got to employ a certain amount of Hispanics. We've got to do this. We've got to hit quotas to please the powers that be. Here in network marketing, do the work, get paid. No one cares who you are, what you do, what your gender is. You just get paid for the work you do. So you have to look at yourself as a man, look at yourself as a woman, and just really get it done. So, that's my
Yeah.
take on this. And
David, I want to come back to you too, real quick. And man, first of all, you got me fired up. Just talking about that. What I heard you say was there's no limit, right? It's how you see yourself. And I love that. And that's something that I'm taking away from today. And all the men that are on here, like, don't let the statistics, don't become a statistic because of the statistics. That's what I heard you say, David, right? So the statistics say that, but there's no one saying that you can't go and be XYZ. David, the other part to that for me was we asked how are men winning in the industry of network marketing, and I would love to get your take on it. Again, we didn't prep for this part, but David, in my experience, I've been in the industry now around 2 decades, right? And my experience has been a lot different from the statistics. The people that introduced me, the young lady that introduced me, female, but really quickly she introduced me to a bunch of men, and I saw myself, and I got really excited about it. I watched those gentlemen become millionaires. I'm still friends with those gentlemen today. Got in another company. I really quickly linked on to Mr. Donald Bradley, Mr. Shedrick White, right? So I'm familiar with men winning in the industry. And David, this is the point that I want you to touch on. I just had to share this real quick. We asked how are men winning in the industry? They focus on building big teams, right? They focus on building big teams. Rarely, in my experience, David, even with some of the product-based companies that I was in, the men didn't necessarily focus on the product, right? They focused on building large organizations, right? They saw that franchise model, and that was something that kind of resonated with men. That's been my experience, but would love to hear your take on that. Has that been your experience as well?
100%. And again, not all men, unfortunately. In my team
Yeah,
right now, I'm having a challenge with some of the men who, and I don't want to, this is not an IntelliTravel call, this is Planet, this is Locker Room.
right.
I just want to do the travel,
Yeah,
sharp men and the men who say that it's their first exposure. They've probably seen a video, maybe a webinar, they haven't really dived deep, or they're not thinking as an entrepreneur. They still got their employee hat on. Sharp men who look at this business and when I say sharp men, I mean men who genuinely are serious about doing their job. Your job as a man is to provide, to protect. And we live in a world, if you're in the US right now, if you're in the UK right now, if you're in the Caribbean or anywhere where we're open, as a man, as a provider for your family, you cannot provide and protect based on how big your muscles are. The bailiffs have more bigger muscles than you. The government has bigger muscles than you. You need some money. You need some money, right? You need some money to fund your lifestyle, to look after your family, to pay for food, to look after, all the things that goes on in your household. If you care about providing and protecting, you should be thinking about building a financial wall to protect you against what the outside world does. The government is not designed to bless you and look after you. If it was, then show me a government many, many years ago that gave you all the things that you and your family really needed. When I was a young boy, 6 years old, looking at the TV screen, looking at my parents voting for this government, voting for that government, one thing I noticed is that my parents were really concerned about who is in power, who's the government, presidents and prime ministers, but the government never gave my family what we needed because we were broke every year, every election, we were broke. Every other year, every other election, we were broke. I knew we were broke. When you ask your parents for something for, you ask them for a toy, a prize, or something, and they say, wait till Christmas, was the response all the time. Even in January, my mum will be saying, wait till Christmas. And that's when I realized we're struggling financially, aren't we, mum? Right? But they were so concerned with, this election, this election. So I said to myself, once Mr. Bradley gave me a nugget, he said, David, it doesn't matter who's in the White House, it matters who's in your house. So for me as a man, I want to build a bubble, a protection, a financial shield around my family that if the government goes left and does something crazy, which is going to hurt my family in terms of how much it's going to cost for education, how much it's going to cost for healthy food, how much it's going to cost for security, how much it's going to cost for us to fly to see our loved ones, how much it's going to cost for us to live in a house. If the government do something a bit drastic, a bit crazy, my family won't feel it. Let me give you an example. There's a new president in the USA. Some of you may love him, some of you may hate him, but let's just say this new president does something to make it very difficult for the average person to afford a house or to pay bills. Let's say tax pretty much doubles overnight. Tax doubles overnight. Question: LeBron James, is he going to suffer? No, he's not going to suffer. Steph Curry, is he going to suffer? No, why? Because they have more than enough money, more than enough revenue coming in to protect them from a drastic change in the laws and the policies and whatever the government's doing. Because they have enough money. David Beckham over here in the UK. If our government over here, if Labour or Conservative does something crazy, which is going to affect how much it is to live, to pay bills, for food, for rent, mortgage, David Beckham is going to be comfortable during the pandemic, where many people lost their jobs, where many people couldn't do this and that. David Beckham over here, he was fine. LeBron James in the USA, he was fine. Why? And I'm using them because they're popular athletes and well-known celebrities, but they have money. They have money. And that's the bottom line. It's not because they're tall, it's not because they're famous, it's not because of their followers, it's because they have a lot of money in their account that if their family needed something, they can afford to sort it. Simple as that. So for me, yeah, men are winning. Uh, Men are winning who, like you said, Jay, want to build massive teams. One of the caveats to that is passive income, residual
Yeah,
income.
they've got
As
it's
a
not
man, there's nothing more beautiful than knowing that you don't have to work and you can spend quality time with your loved ones and still have your bills paid. I'm very proud to say I've got a daughter on the way. I can't wait. And I started off this journey in network marketing, over 10 years ago, Planet Marketing 2016. And one of the things I would say on stage is I want to be in a place where I can spend more time with my future wife and children than I would spend with my boss and colleagues. That was my pitch. That was my intro in 2016 and onwards. And now today, as a six-figure income earner, no man is going to say, hey, David, yeah, paternity leave is finished. Back to the office on Monday, 8 o'clock, please. No, no one can call my phone telling me where I need to be. If my daughter's doing her first steps, I'm there. First words, I'm there. First swimming lesson, I'm there. No man is going to tell me or my wife where we should be instead of being where we want to be. Because as a man, as a provider, I joined this business and I didn't say something crazy like, I want to be a travel agent. I don't want to build a team. And if I say that, it's only because you don't understand the business or you don't care about providing financially for your family. You don't care about passive income because yes, booking travel is great, but that time that your wife needs you, that time that your family needs you, you can't be there if you have to work for your money. See, if I book a trip, I get paid. If I don't book a trip, I don't get paid. But as I've built a team, I'm earning income this coming Thursday. I've got a nice weekly check coming through this coming Thursday based on the work I did in January 2016, right? I don't know what I did in January. I don't know how much I weighed. I didn't know if I had a beard back then. I had less gray hairs. That's all I know. I don't know what I did, but something I did in January 2016 by sponsoring John, Toby, and Andre, three people, is resulted in a very nice check this coming Thursday. And that check is what's going to enable me to stay home as a dad, to stay home as a husband, and look after my family. So, as a man, if you're on this line right now and you are one of those men who's saying, I'm only going to book travel, I don't want to build a team, have a look at this compensation plan. Have a look. And we're not here, this is not here to be soft and say it's okay, do what you want to do. You can do that. But there's other men who are providing for their family in their sleep, where wives get to be retired, where children get to have what they need on a constant weekly and monthly basis. Every Thursday, we get paid. Every 10th of the month, we get paid. Every first of the month, we get paid as directors. That's what you want to be doing, securing for a rainy day. And unfortunately, if you're in the US and the UK, there's quite a few rainy days, quite a few rainy days happening, and going to happen. So, yeah, sorry, long-winded answer there.
No, no, that's good, man. I love it.
And I
Yeah.
see
Question?
we had a question in the chat box from I think the gentleman's
Okay.
John Marco. John, I don't know if you can unmute.
Mhm.
Let me see if I can.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, John.
All right, thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Director. My question, well, let me give you a little background. I did 3 years in the military as an NCO. Then I got out and I went into the police department. Did that for 24 years. So my challenge now with men is that when I talk to other men, I have that authority figure and I talk to them with authority. And unfortunately, they don't want to listen most of the time. I don't have a problem talking to women, but the challenge comes with talking to men. So is there something I can do because I don't know how to change the way I talk. Is there something I can do to tone it down, or should I just looking for more of a man to talk to?
Hmm. That's a good question. And can I ask what rank are you in the business?
Bronze.
Bronze builder. So two things. One, and this is just me thinking off the top of my head. You don't necessarily need to change how you talk because you are you and you want to be yourself. But so you said you got a military and a police background. So
Yes.
do you mean that you're talking, kind of like, if let's say if you're my drill sergeant, you're going to talk to me, in a very firm, direct, strong way, and that's totally fine. But obviously you want to be able to relate to people. You want to, you're more of a consultant. You want to come down to their level where you're letting them know that you genuinely care. People don't care what you know till they know that you care. So if I'm talking to someone in an authority figure, there's nothing wrong with that. But if I'm just basically bossing them around, telling them what to do, you now sound like the boss. You sound like their bailiff. You sound like someone who normally bullies them. Men are used to being talked down to by other men. If we work a normal traditional 9 to 5 job, we're probably used to another man, sometimes another woman telling you what to do, being authoritative over you, and it's not a great feeling. No one likes to be told what to do by their boss. Sometimes we just unfortunately have to be told that way. So now you're talking to men that you want to help. You're not talking, as a police officer, you're not talking to the criminals in an authority way because you're about to arrest them. You're not, if you're in the military, you're not talking to, let's say, the junior soldiers in an authority way if you're a higher rank. You're talking to a man you care about helping them change their financial position. So you've got to, have that empathy that, hey, brother, this is something, I've been doing. I love this business. I'm working with some guys who are making 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures. It may not be for you, but I thought of you because, like me, I'm sure you're a man who wants to provide for your family. And I'd love to share something with you that I'm using to help me provide for my family. If you come on that, even if you say it with authority, with bass in your voice and in a strong way, so long you're relating to that individual you're speaking to, so long you're relating to that man and not just saying, hey, you need to do this because if you don't, you're going to be broke. You're going to, if you come from a place of, I'm going to use this to help me and my family to do A, B, and C. I thought of you because I know you're a sharp guy who also wants to protect and provide for his family. That's why I was thinking of you. Would you be open to get some more information about this project which I'm working on? So you've got to be sympathetic. You've got to be understanding, have that empathy that I'm trying to help you, brother. And and be humble. Even me making quite a decent amount of money, I don't really say, hey, I'm making all this money, you need to make money like me. I still have that vulnerability, which people, especially men have that ego problem. So if I come to you with big ego, you instantly can repel back. But if I come to you in a humble way, hey man, times are tough. and things are so expensive. I really want to be in a place where I can buy nice things for my wife. So I'm doing this. So I really want to improve my finances. They can relate to that because if they're struggling financially, they can relate more to that than, hey, look at me, sapphire ring, I'm rich, Donald's my best friend. They can't relate to that because if they're struggling financially, I don't want to talk all this six-figure talk, seven-figure talk, nine-star talk. I want to keep it real because there's still some things I can't afford. There's still some things that I struggle with financially. So I want to say, hey, man, America is a crazy place right now. Things are so expensive. So I've been looking at this project, which has helped me to earn some extra income. I'm working with some guys earning some extra income, and I'm really enjoying it because I don't want to be struggling anymore. And I'd love to work with you in something. There's different verbiages that you can use. And again, always leverage, go upline. Now, upline, if you tell your upline enough about that prospect, the upline is going to always have a nugget, an intro, a message, a way to get through to that prospect with the experience that they have. So hopefully that helped. I'm going to pass over to Jay. I'm sure, Jay, you've got some
this, man, great answer and even better question. That was a really, really good question. And it touched the whole nerve, right? This locker room, right? This men's locker room with the ladies here too. And I love it, right? Because John Mackle, man, you just said something. You said you talk with authority, and I know your background, and I love it. One, I love that you self-diagnose. That's one, right? You're paying attention and you're looking at, what's going on. John, I'm actually mute until you're ready to talk. But you're paying attention to what's going on, so that's beautiful. The thing that hit a nerve, right? And I want all the men to chime in on this. This man's like, let's turn this up a little bit. Like, if you're a man and you feel like I feel, I need y'all to cut your camera on. Like, I don't know any man that likes to be told what to do. And for me, it's the pet peeve. Like, it's, oh my God. I just don't, right? You can tell me, look, get your plate out the microwave. You telling me or you asking me, right? It's a thing, right, with me, right? So I just thought, see all the men cutting the camera on, right? It's a thing. So I love that when you diagnose the problem, man, you see the response, right? And so that's just not how we are. You know what I mean? That's not how we're built internally. And my mother would be real proud of me right now because she used to tell me this all the time as a kid, and it just came back when you said what you said. Treat others the way you want to be treated, right? As a man, you want to talk to another man the way you want to be talked to. Does that make sense? Right? So if you don't want anybody, hey, listen, you need and you blah, 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 and you da-da-da-da-da, you're going to lose me. Just real talk, like this locker room, right? So you're going to lose me because I'm going to back away because I'm like, who you think you're talking to?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even hear what it is you're trying to say because of how you're saying it. And I love the fact, again, that you self-diagnose. And here's the thing, for all of us, it's a growth process. David, you heard Mr. Bradley all the time say back in the day, man, he would run somebody out the business, right? The way he talked to him. But now, over time, it's changed and he's gotten better and he's learned how to, kind of finesse it a little bit. So write this in your notes, man, posture and permission. Posture is great, right? But if you don't mix some humility and stir that around in there, then it comes off arrogant sometimes, right? So it's great to have posture. You should be really believing in what it is that you're talking about. You should be confident in what it is that you're talking about, but you got to have that humility, David, that you talked about. That's really, really important to balance that with the man because we are men and we all battle with that, right? Somebody telling us what to do. So I love that you're kind of working that out. And the other thing, John, just real world, like real life, how you do it right now as you're making the transition is get permission to speak the way that you speak. Go right through the front door. Right. So if I'm talking to you, John, and I'm like, and I know this thing about me, right? I'm passionate about what it is. I know that I automatically come off sometimes as a drill sergeant or as an officer. So I may say, John, listen, man, look, I need to get your permission to speak freely. And don't take offense to this, right? Sometimes I come off a little, it's not on purpose, right? I'm working on it. You see what I'm saying? Like going through the front door with it, getting permission. And then I'm like, okay. So if you say something that's a little harsh, you already told me. You know what I mean? That you don't mean anything by it. You're not trying to be my daddy. You know what I mean? It's just, so that's how you deal with it right now as you're making the adjustment over time. But at the end of the day, treat others the way you want to be treated, man. David said a word that was really, really powerful: empathy. Empathy, be empathetic, right? It's how do they feel on the other side? They tired of people telling them what they do and they still ain't got what they need to get. You know what I mean? So they don't want another person yelling at me. Last thing I'll say, David, I was looking for a personal trainer, and I started going back and forth with this personal trainer, and he must have been John's son because he was man. I was ready to fight this dude before I even know. And I was like, bro, this not gonna be good, bro. We're not gonna work good, right? We need to start off here with me. Like I'm like, if I see you at the gym, it's gonna be some furniture moving, bro. We're gonna fight, right? Like it was terrible, but it was that arrogance that I'm like, dude, I ain't even paid you yet. You know what I mean? So yeah, come in, right? Get permission. But guess what? If he had said, hey, look, man, I come on a little strong, it would have prepped me. You know what I'm saying? I would have been ready. But I'm thinking this dude might not even know that he come on a little strong, so I don't want to deal with that. Does that make sense? So hopefully that helped, John. Great question, though.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, I want to pass over all the way to Barbados. I want to get Mr. Rohan Moore on the line. Just a quick, point from yourself, Mr. Moore, on I believe you're the top income earner in Barbados. I believe you're the top ranked person in Barbados. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, you are in a market where it's not the US, it's not the UK, it's not Jamaica, which is the third biggest market. You're a leader, you're a pioneer, and it was such a pleasure to meet you in Barbados, a few years back. And as a man leading the whole market of Barbados, what does that feel like, having everybody look up to you and leading at the forefront? What's the responsibility like? And, how do you feel doing that? And what are the benefits of leading a new market, by yourself?
Okay, good night to everyone. Thank you, David. One of the things, though, we have a director, and she is, along with myself, I'm director in training, and so primarily, I would say I'm one of the leading ones in Barbados. And again, it comes from your personality as well. If you look at it from the aspect of my industry in real estate, we dominate the market. Before I name like champion, we dominate the market. And so for me, though, in terms of networking, I had always had a passion for networking, working with people. Prior to that, coming back to Barbados, I was actually a police officer in Bermuda, guaranteed life over there. But then I was kind of selling myself short. I wanted to come back to Barbados to offer something unique to men and young men. And that's one of the reasons why I came back to Barbados. Prior to actually Planet Marketing, I was also involved with another networking company that after 2 years, it collapsed. Did I stop there? No, I took, my wife investigated and she saw that Planet Marketing and IntelliTravel were solid. And so therefore, that's all we needed. And what makes it easy for my wife and I in this business, my wife, she is more in terms of, she handles the kind of the travel side. And when it comes to the marketing side, I stay in my lane. I embrace people. And so therefore, I believe that this industry is a relationship business. And so as a leader, and not everybody wants to lead. You got to understand that when people come to this business voluntarily, you got to find out from them, what is their why? Why are you here? Because if you don't know that, they can leave at any time. So as a leader, you always have to be grounded, always have to be learning. Like now I'm actually looking at the book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. Because the leader, who encouraged the encourager? So everybody is looking for you for encouragement. But what's interesting, only recently we had several distractions. They call it distractions where get quick, fast. And I love that. The mere fact people who didn't come on board with us, they jump on that. And guess what? It collapsed. But one of the things is that it shows that we are still here. We have stability. And I believe that the evidence, as a former police officer, you need evidence. And the evidence is to stay and show people what you are worth. Instead of just having people come on board, you be the evidence for people to see what the Planet Marketing and IntelliTravel has to offer. And guess what? They will come on board. Even if they're not sure, there are folks who have came on board and they fall off. But guess what? They have come back on because they recognize that there's stability. We're grounded, we're not moving, we're unshakable, and we're going forward systematically.
Wow.
Back.
Wow. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for that, Rohan. And you said something there which I really want to touch on. We're talking about stability. You said Planet Marketing was secure. So I'm going to talk a little bit. I'm going to go up a notch, high level network marketing talk. So I'm talking to the men specifically. When you're prospecting another man who maybe is in another company or is thinking of joining another company other than what we do, one of the, I've got a team of 37,000 people now. So obviously, there's a lot of people in my DMs. Hey, David, we're pre-launching over here. There's a new thing over here. There's something over here. And I'm going to be very much locker room now. So while I've been in Planet Marketing for 9.5 years, there's top leaders. Some of them make a bit more money than me. Some of them don't make as much as me in many, many other companies. And, they always want me to join them and I always want them to join me. We're always talking back and forth, back and forth. But every 2 years, sometimes every 6 months, they're in my inbox talking about a new thing, a new company, a new company, a new company, pre-launch, get in early, get your spot. I can put someone in your team, right? And this is high level network marketing talk. It may not, it may not be for everybody, but one of the things I do when I talk to other men, two things I mentioned about stability. We know Planet Marketing is stable. We know the heart of Donald Bradley. We just know, right? We know this is a stable company that wasn't created because Donald wanted to make some extra money and he needed some cash. Donald was already a millionaire. He could have, rode off into the sunset, but he decided to go back into the field, work even harder than he's ever worked before as a CEO to create a company which was fair, which was safe, which was a good home for us. And that's why we're seeing some explosive growth because this company is about people over profits, whereas Donald came from a company which was about profits over people, and many people suffered, and Donald Bradley wanted to create something special for us. So we know we've made a smart decision, a stable decision to plant our flag that 10, 20, 30 years from now, our children can be benefiting from this business. There's some other companies out there, and there's a lot of things going on in the crypto space where anyone with half a brain knows that, and I'm going to say the P word, pyramid or a dodgy company or a company that's not going to be around for a long time. And some of these top leaders, they know this company is not going to be around for a long time. So they know it's going to crash. They know it's going to crumble in 3 months, in 1 year, but they still join and they still bring their people over to grab some money, grab some cash, and then leave. And as a man, I say to them, like, as a man, you've got to make smart choices for your family. As a man, you're a leader. You got to lead your people the right way. Moses led the people the right way. Let God give him the guidance to lead people through the Red Sea because he was a leader. If you're a leader, if you're talking to a leader in network marketing and they're continually bringing their team into stupid companies which are clearly dodgy, clearly not going to last, clearly can't pay out the comp plan, the product is a joke, as a man, you can talk to that person and say, that is not manly. Imagine leading your family into the ghetto where there's gunshots flying out. You say, hey, let's go for a walk. Let's go walk down the most dangerous, deadly street in the whole neighborhood where everybody's shooting guns every second of the day. You lead your wife and your child to walk down that street. That would not be a smart move. But in business, men sometimes, because they're only thinking of their check, some people are getting money under the table. Some people, they're just looking for the easy thing. And they say, come and join this. It fails. Okay, don't worry about it. I know you lost $1,000, but we're going to do this now. Oh, it failed. Okay, I know you lost $500. Don't worry about it. We're going to do this now. Oh, it failed. Okay, I know you lost your $400. We're going to do this now. And I see these people over and over and over again. And sometimes I keep it really real with those guys. And I say, look, if this was a relationship, I've been in a long-term marriage for 9.5 years with Planet Marketing, and you are jumping from bed to bed to bed. I'm stable. You're getting diseases. Let me just is locker room. Can I say that? You are in everybody's bed. You are jumping from bed to bed to bed every 6 months. You're inboxing me about something new. You're inboxing me about a new pre-launch, about a new company, about a new this. And what about the last one? You told me the last one was it. You told me the last one was amazing. You told me the last one is a game changer. And now you're saying the same thing again to this one and this one and this one. So as a man, you've got to start making stable choices, smart choices, intelligent choices. You've got to lead your people with care because you care about the money they're spending. You care about the situation that they're going to be in. And that's one of the things I say when I have these high level people who want to prospect me. I say, I don't care about your comp plan. I don't care about your product. I care about stability. How long has this company been going, and how long is this company going to last? Because your track record is not for the people. While I've been here for in one company for 9.5 years, you've done 7 different companies. What if I did partner with you? What if my team did join your team? Where would we be now? Scattered. Some will come with me to the next one and the next one and the next one. Some won't. And some people get hurt, burnt, and left behind. And you hear people saying, I'll never do network marketing again. I'll never do network marketing. I don't do network marketing anymore. It's because they went from company to company to company to company to company, and they were losing money at every step of the way. And at some point, I keep losing money. The leadership is leading me into the wrong places. The leadership is leading me into places which are not good for me, but good for them. That's not manly. That's not leadership. That is selfish. And at a certain while, you lose all your credibility and nobody wants to follow you no more. So just diverting a bit slightly to a high level network marketing conversation, stability for a man is so important because today you're providing for your family, your wife and children, and tomorrow you can't. That's a problem. That's a problem. You've got to be stable. You've got to build something that you know is going to last, not something that's a quick fix, not something that's a shiny object, something that might be tough. Planet marketing is tough. Nobody's getting a special deal under the table. Nobody's got a special benefit that someone else doesn't have. Everybody's got to put their shoulder to the wheel and work hard. But this is something that's going to be a continual thing, something that's powerful, something that's stable. So, yeah, I just wanted to just have a caveat on that. And Jay, we've got a question in the chat. I don't know if you wanted to touch on that as well, Jay.
No, man. Yeah, I do. But we'll be going all night. That was absolutely incredible, David. The only thing I'll say, and it's in harmony with what you're saying, man. Credibility, reputation, our name, like it means something to a man. You know what I mean? And to everybody, right? Not just male or female, but to men specifically. We're talking men's locker room. Man, your reputation, your name means something. And when you lose that credibility, man, the stability goes out of the door too. I mean, it just goes away, right? You can't have that. You can't have this. And that's so I love what you just talked about, man. I'm glad you went in that direction. So you said we got a question?
Yeah, that's it. And again, we're going to try and move a bit faster so we can get more questions in. So apologies, I'm getting too passionate. We might need to.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
But so a great question from Laura Cook. She says, I brought my son into the business. And firstly, congratulations. Recruiting family members is hard. So recruiting your son and the fact that he's 18, big congratulations, Laura, because it's not very easy to do. So he's 18 years old. He's in college. He's coming to the big London event in May where Donald Bradley's going to be there, of course. Orlando Moore's flying out. It's going to be a fantastic 3,000-seater. But what would you advise me as a mentor to get the fire in his belly so he understands what this business can do? What would you suggest that I plug into him? So we're talking about men's locker room, but now we're talking about young men. So again, fantastic question, Laura. Talking about young men, even 18, just about old enough to join the business. The first one I'll say, Laura, this is a quick caveat for me, and then I'll pass over to Jay. And I know we do have, we've got Nate Newman on the line. We've got Willie Cooper on the line. If you guys want to chime in, again, feel free to unmute and have a quick chime in as well. This will be fantastic. We've got a lot of strong, serious men in the business from around the planet, around the world. But very, very quickly, Laura, a young man, your son, 18 years old, you want to get that fire in his belly. Unfortunately, you can't force fire into anyone's belly. You can't force someone to be motivated. We don't try and motivate people. We look for motivated people. One of the best things you can do is to plug him in to the big events, the weekly events, the webinars, and ideally speak with your upline. And if you need to go upline until you get to the upline who knows everything what's going on, who knows all the people, because it all leads up to Donald Bradley. Find an upline who knows another 18-year-old who's doing very well in the business. For example, when I got started and I had young ladies who were 18, 19, who wanted to make money, who wanted to see someone like them, I would plug them into Elusive News, who at the time was a 18 or 19-year-old who's smashing through 2-star, 3-star, making 6 figures at the age of 19 years old. So now, obviously, as a young man, he wants to see some of the other young men because there are some young 18, 19, 20-year-olds in the business in the UK and the US who are making 5 and 6 figures. So Laura, go upline and find out from your upline who they can get connected with, because there's going to be a lot of people, whether at the big events, he's definitely going to meet some other 18-year-old men who are taking it very seriously at the big events. Get them to have a conversation, get them to pour in. But if you keep going upline, they'll be able to give some guidance. But that's a great question. I'll pass over to you, Jay.
Absolutely. I don't know if Nate, were you coming in? We muted you back. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, this is good. Really, really great question. And I agree 1000%. Definitely go upline. Here's what I'll add to Laura. Laura, you talked about getting the fire in his belly, and David, you said you took the words right out of my mouth. You can't put it there, but you can find it, right? If you find it, then you can match it. You'll know exactly what to plug them into. And what I mean by that, like you got to figure out what it is. Rohan said it earlier. Director Moore said it earlier. Man, you know, we're gonna go after it when we have a why. And so I have young men as well, and it would seem like we would automatically know, like what drives them. But I'm trying to tell you, I got three, and I don't know. You know what I mean? I gotta ask, right? I gotta figure out what I think drive them, don't drive them. What I think motivate them, don't motivate them, right? So it's one of those things. Just like somebody outside of your house, you got to spend that time and figure out like what's driving him, what he really wants, where is the fire in his belly. Then you can mirror match it, right? Well, I want this, I want this, I want that. Well, you know what? You can go find somebody in the business who has this, has that, right? And then mirror match it and show him what Shedrick White says is his end zone. But that would be my caveat to it. Dive deep. And this is for everybody. Real quick, I'll share this real quick. For the men that are on, that's a big nugget, right? You want to start really looking at the people, one, that you're prospecting, but two, the people that you're bringing on and figuring out what moves them. David, we hear Mr. Bradley, right, our coach mentor, all the time talking about personalization, customization. He talks about the interrogatives, find out what they want, why they want it, when they want it, how bad they want it, what are they willing to do to get it, right? All of those things we got to figure out about these individuals. And for the guys, if you've ever played sports or you are a sports fan, right? Right now for the NFL, American football, it's the off season, right, Willie? It's the off season. But I'm into the off season just like the regular season because I'm looking at who we recruiting, who we bringing on, right? I'm like, man, what are their attributes, Dave? I'm going to doing a background check and I'm figuring out, right? Because I want to know what are they going to bring to the table, right? I'm like, are they going to be a good fit for the locker room? Like I'm really getting paid for the team. So we put that same energy over here with not only the prospects, but the people that are already in. Different ball game, right? Different ball game now. And that's where I hear Mr. Bradley saying, man, I'm going to find out my people. His main mission is to find out what they want. That comes from communication. That comes from conversation. That comes from spending time. That comes from knowing the carpet in their living room. And again, Laura, for us with children, it's not a given, right? It's not a given because they're 18. They're 18, and my 18 is a different 18. We was thinking about something different, right? Really, I'm just telling the truth. Right, we talk about the kids now. David, I don't know how it is in the UK, but over here, 15 to 9 months, we driving. Right over here, now they 25. They don't even want their license. Right, it's a different thing. Like I don't know what motivates y'all on something else. So we got to figure out what that is, right? And then, man, mirror match that thing because sometimes we could be way off target.
Amazing. I mean, Willie, I don't know if you want to chime in on that again. Mentoring young men, you know, just a quick nugget on, you know, talking to the next generation.
Yeah, well, you know, I have a young man. Oh, well, thank you for the opportunity, Jay. Good to see you. And to the family, get to see Nate on as well. But I would say this, for one thing, Laura, one of the things that you have going for you is that he's coming to a meeting, right? And so when he's coming to a meeting, he gets to see the environment, he gets to see and whatever. And I agree with you 100%, Dave, and also Jay, is the fact that he gotta know what he wants, right? And by him coming, he could see the culture, and he also could see that if it's the money that he's looking for, and when they start to break down the comp plan and see the things that he can do, and he has friends of his age, so he's starting off young. And even when you did, and Dave, you did the millennial video, right? Yeah, absolutely. So when he gets to see certain things that he love and like, and he can incorporate his friends into it and say, this is what we could do. So you're heading in that direction. But I think the plug-in is huge. Once you have that plug-in and they come in and see the culture, my son, he's in it and he's gathering his friends up because he see. And the way this world is going right now, you want to be able to control something. And if you're starting at a young age, 18, my goodness, you know, and that's a big deal. So the nuggets that have been dropped here is huge. And I hope that helped you out, Laura, because I'm enjoying it myself.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Willie Cooper. Again, for those of you who don't know, he's a founding director, one-star director as well. One of the
I wish I'm not founder. I wish I was with Nate and the Jays, but you know, I came in a little after.
Love that, love that. But yeah, thank you so much for that, sir. You know, so we're going to go back to the questions that we've got, Jay. I'll pass over to you. One of the other questions, again, I think from your team is, how do men incorporate social media? How do men incorporate social media?
David, how honest can I be right now?
Keep it real. We don't want to see no men kind of
Man,
pose in bikinis to attract people to join the business, because that's not gonna work. You're gonna get terminated.
right. Man, listen, that's such a good question. Man, listen, you took the words right out of my mouth. You got to be yourself, right? You can't be. Here's the thing, and this is just Jay's opinion, right? Don't slam David for anything I'm about to say, but man, social media, there are male influencers, right? That do really, really well on social media. I personally do not know any on social media in the industry that are like just killing it on social media, right? Just killing it. I know men have some success, right, on social media, but is it the men that make it their main thing? I don't know them, right? Deb, you may have a different circle, but I don't, right? I just don't.
No, I agree.
I agree. You agree? Okay, total. So one of the things, David, that I see is that women are just good at it. You know what I mean? They're good at it. It's just amazing. It's their thing. It's social. Women to me are more social than we are. They talk more, right? It's not a bad thing, right? They use more words. They go back and forth. They do a lot of stuff. And so it's just not me. I tried to make social media a big part of my business, right? And what I found out, and I'm just keeping it 1000%, was that, man, it was way too much for me. Like, right, the going back and forth and remembering who this, that, and the third. And to me, it was almost like booking travel. It was like another job. And I'm not that guy, right? I'm a 100-mile up looking down type of guy. Like, show me how do I get done? What do I need to do? The quickest way to do it, right? I'm using less words. So to me, it was just a lot of that. And then the other thing, again, just being transparent, Dave, that's why I started laughing when you said posing in bikinis and stuff, right? I started looking at stuff and I said, you know what? I'm going to do a dance on TikTok. No, I'm not. I'm not about to. How I look. My kids would literally come over here and assassinate me if I dance on TikTok, right? It's just, and I'm not saying that people can't, right? I'm not saying, but what I'm saying is a lot of men, right? And y'all know, I know we in the woke society, so please nobody take offense, but I know a lot of men, it's just not their thing. So here's what I'll say, man, be authentic. You got to be yourself, right? David, I know you do, in my opinion, you do really well on social media, like Mr. Go Travel. Like, I know the brand, you know what I'm saying? You do really, really well, but you're you. You know what I mean? You ain't, right? You're a dude, you're you. And that's what we have to be. I do okay on social media. Willie, you're always talking about my reels, right? Because I like a little trap music and I like it. So that's what I do. I do me on social media, right? I can't be somebody else. And sometimes we try to be somebody else on social media and it may or may not be our lane. If you can find your lane, and let me say this and I'll be done. Like, the biggest, Mr. Bradley says this joking all the time, but it's still fact a little bit, right? I don't know, Rachel might be there now, but he was like, they're the best attraction marketers in the business. Him and Orlando, right? And they ain't dancing on TikTok. They just being them, right? Going to lunch with his daughter, recruited a Natalie Graham. So to me, that's how men win on social media. You got to be you. You got to be authentic. You got to post the stuff that's about you, right? It's social media is your page, your platform. So you don't have to be anybody else, right? Don't get invited. Well, that's a whole nother topic. Go ahead. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, Dave.
Yeah, do you know what? I mean, again, I'm just going to just very quickly on this, like, Mr. Landamore and Mr. Bradley joked about being the best influencers and social media, marketers, and they are, because let's say the best online builders, you probably have to say Natalie Graham and Rachel Algie, right? Well, what I learned from Mr. Bradley is high tech, high touch. I have a very basic Instagram. Like you say, I'm doing well. I travel a lot, so I post some stuff. I probably sign up 10 people a year for my Instagram. 10 people a year. So I might look, my social media might look really cool. People might be thinking David is, because he travels a lot, he posts his travel stuff. When I post that I'm in a relationship, 500 comments. If I post I'm having a baby, 500 comments. If I post my wedding pictures, 500 comments. If I post that I can genuinely change your life and make you a six-figure income earner, 2 comments. One for me, one for my mom, right? People don't care. Look at my social. I'm not an influencer. Don't look at my following. I get 1 or 2 comments, but I don't care. I have a team of 37,000 people because I learned from Mr. Bradley, high tech, high touch. I don't care about the comments, the reels, and the TikTok and all of this. I care about building relationships because Mr. Bradley found me online on Skype. He flew from Atlanta to London, England. He sat down with me and my brothers. He poured into us, and 37,000 people later, we've created a dynasty based on high tech, high touch. JP Watkins, he flew over to Dallas, sat down with her, and she just hit 18,000 people, I believe, just smashing it out the park because of real relationships. And based on the relationship that Donald built with me, I was able to build with someone else, who built with someone else, who built with someone else, built with someone else, who found a Rachel Lauji, who found a Marcella Burgess, who are all the superstar TikTok influential, know everything about. I don't know much on my wife always be telling me how basic my my Instagram is. I need to learn how to do my colors scheme and make it match and do this. And I just post. I don't think about it. She has amazing posts. If you see any video of me traveling looking really good, she made that video. My videos are very simple, very basic. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to build relationships with men, relationships with women that can help lead to people in my organization earning 5 figures, 6 figures, and even 7 figures based on doing that. I'm not the Instagram guy. I'm not the TikTok guy. I'm not a social media guy. I build relationships. If there's someone in my team who wants to maximize their social media skill set, that's great. But for me, as men, let's keep it real. Don't rely on social media to build your business. Pick up the phone and call someone. Go and take someone out for coffee. Sit down with people, because if it really was that serious, if it really was that deep, if it really was that life-changing, you would not send an Instagram DM. You will not send a messenger DM. You will go and call that person and meet that person and say, look, I've got something that can change your life. So that's what I would say on that social media topic. Second, I think we've got 2 more questions. I don't want us to overdo it and go too long. But one of the other questions from, I think, someone in your team, Jay, what approach works best from a male perspective? I mean, that's a bit of a open question, but I don't know.
Yeah, just like I'm gonna say, I gotta stay the way I feel it. I like the approach. For me, I like it just like I like my drink, straight, no chaser. That's how men like it, right?
Yeah.
Not a whole bunch of pretty stuff, straight, no chaser. David, I'm gonna turn it back over to you. What's your thoughts on that? That's how we like the approach.
Keeping it real. Don't hype, don't oversell it, because sometimes, men have that BS detector. Especially if you're talking to a high value guy, you're talking to a sharp guy, talking to a successful guy, they have that BS detector. And especially if you're new, if you're a rep in the business, you're a bronze, you're a silver, you're just finding your feet. And he's hey man, join this travel thing, man. We get Lamborghinis every day, man. And you're just doing all the hype and all the faking. Most men can, I'm not coming to your meeting. Like, you lying. You overselling it, you hyping it, you're doing too much, so just keep it real and be, again, like we said with John, be empathetic and be relatable. Like, why are you sharing this business with that person? You're a consultant, you're not a salesman. You are trying to consult to see how this business can help that person. They do not care about your comp plan. They do not care about your travel deals. They do not care about how much you're earning. They don't care about your bronze pin. They care about what Planet Marketing can do for their life. So you always have to be thinking, why am I speaking to this person? I'm speaking to this person because our business could help him with this. Our business could help him with that. And that's when you're going to, as a man, just relate straight to the person, keep it real, be direct, and say, I'm sharing this with you because I really believe this business could help you and your family to do A, B, and C. So that's, one of the things I'll say, just keeping it real, being empathetic and understanding as to why you want to help that person and what you've got, which can help that person. So hopefully that made sense. And I think it's the final question for us, Jay.
Yeah.
How should the approach be different for a woman who is looking to recruit a driven male into her team and vice versa? So let's just say maybe a man looking to recruit a driven woman.
Okay, so the first part of it was, how should the approach be different for a woman who's looking to recruit a driven man, right? And I think we kind of covered it, right? But we can go a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Is again, speak to straight no chaser, right? That Shauna says, great question. Going right into what it is that they get out of the business, the big picture, showing in their end zone, right? And this is just on my heart to say, but speak to the hero in a person, and that's the kind of a kind of going off on a caveat a little bit. So I'll come back to that, but straight no chaser again, right? And I wish I had more to say that, but if it's a driven man, you got to speak to what he's going to get out of it. Because if he's driven, then he has goals. He's looking for something. He's right. He's motivated to move forward in something. So you got to speak to that champion inside him, and you got to speak to. And I guess this does kind of answer that. Speak to the hero inside of a driven man, right? Honestly, and what I mean by that, y'all, is that we just because we got older and we grew up doesn't necessarily mean that we change. You know, at some point, every man on here probably, I would bet, tied a towel or a sheet around their neck and thought they were Superman at some point in their life, right? At some point when we was little, right? I don't care what age you are. At some point we did it. We were the hero. We wanted to be the hero. And every man that I know, it can be in different areas of their life, but every man that I know needs to be the hero in some area of their life, right? So keeping it direct, keeping it straight, no chaser, speaking to what the man can get out of it. David, was it you that said you have I think it was you that said, what do you say? You're looking for men was that you that want to help their family? Is that you that said that?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe,
Men that want
okay.
to provide for their family, yeah.
Yeah. That want to provide for their families. Like, man, that to me, that was the best approach. I think somebody put it in the comments last time we were together, and I screenshotted it. I couldn't even write it down fast enough. But it was just speaking to people that want something. Mr. Bradley says, and I'll pass it over to you, David. Mr. Bradley says, I'm looking for the one in the family, that person that is the go-to, the banker, right? They're the end-all, be-all in the family. And there are a lot of men, again, even if they may not necessarily be married and have kids, they may be needing to take care of mom. They may need, right? They need to be the hero in some area of their life. So those would be my thoughts on that, David. What's your thoughts?
Okay, great. It's a really good question as well. Okay, so again, locker room, I'm going to keep it real, keep it 100. So, okay, we're talking about a woman trying to recruit a high value man. Now, there's a few things to understand to protect yourself because you probably only get one shot. If the first approach is bad or doesn't go well, you may not really get a second try. So, are you a single woman? Are you married? Are you in a relationship? Is this man you're speaking to single, or is he married? Is he in a relationship? Sometimes you won't tell based on social media, or you don't know the person. But if you know that this person, for example, is single, as a woman, one of the things I always say to the ladies when prospecting men, if you know that this person is single, you have to come correct. You have to be professional in your approach, because most times, especially I mean, I don't know about other companies, but I know Planet Marketing has got the most beautiful women in the industry, hands down, period. So when you approach a man, when you slide into a guy's DMs, right? Most men will be more interested in you than this comp plan, because they won't even get a chance to see the comp plan. They're not even watching your video. They're not even looking at your presentation. They're not coming to a meeting. If the opportunity to get to know you instead is maybe easier, more accessible, then they would disregard every single Planet Marketing reel, video, text that you send, because either your approach was too friendly. Hey, babes, I want to share something with you. Who are you calling babes? I've got a wife at home. You can't call me babes. That is not a good message to send to a high-profile guy, because you're calling him babes. He liked that. And now you want to send him the comp plan video or the video. He doesn't care about that. He wants, keep calling me babes. Let's get back to that. Can I take you on a date? And now you've gone on a tangent. He said, no, I don't want to go on a date with you. I want to share this travel business. I don't care about the travel business. When can we hook up? because you started off the wrong approach. So that's the first thing. What you're saying to men, especially if they're single men, you know, and you're single as well, what you're saying is important. You've got to be professional. How you present yourself, and I'm talking to the ladies now. And again, of course, visually, you guys look better than us. It's just is what it is, right? So if your profile picture, if the pictures you post are, let's just keep it real again, this is locker room. If you're offended, there's a red button that says end, press that. You can drop out the call. It's cool. We don't care. But if you're selling travel, if you're selling travel business, or if you're selling yourself, you need to make that clear. Because some people's post is, I don't know if you're selling travel, you're selling something else, right? So how do you come across? If your profile and your pictures and everything you post is so provocative or sexual, most men, trust me, they don't see your comp plan, they don't see your presentation, they don't see your flyer, they don't care about your breakdown of the business. They're looking at your pictures because you're not coming across as a professional, as an entrepreneur. You never see, you know, presidents, prime ministers, and government politicians, you know, posting in a bikini when they're, you know, presenting to the world, presenting to the nation. So make sure you come across correctly because you'll distract a lot of men, and they will be way more interested in you than anything you send them in relation to Planet Marketing. Like Jay said, speak to the king in them. One of the things you want to be doing with a man is stroke the ego in the right way. Hey, not, hey, you're really good looking, you'll be great in this business. No, you're flirting, and now he's not interested in your business. He's interested in you. But if I'm a woman, I'm talking to a guy, I'm saying, hey, how's it going? I want to share something with you, which I really think is going to be up your street. I've been following you for a while. You definitely seem like a sharp, educated guy who is about providing for his family. I see you've got a wife and children, and I can tell that you're the type of guy that wants to provide for the family. We've got a 6- and 7-figure opportunity over here, which I know will be right up your street. And I see you as a guy that could be on our stage one day, really empowering other men and women, you know, because you definitely look like a leader. And would I be right in saying that you're about your money? Something along the lines of that. You've empowered him. You stroked his ego in a business way, not stroked his ego in a personal way. You can stroke his ego by saying, hey, you're really good looking, you're really tall, you're really handsome, you've got a great beard. That's going to lead to a different part. You stroke his ego in a business sense. Hey, based on your profile, I can see that you're a serious guy about providing for your family. Hey, based on your profile, I can see that you're a great motivational speaker. Hey, based on your profile, I can see that you're a leader of men. I see that you've got a youth club that you're setting up for children under the age of 20. Stroke his ego in a business setting, and say, I've got an opportunity over here, which I think you'll be great in because I can see you're serious about providing for your family. I can see you're definitely, you know, a high value guy who's interested in making wealth and building generational wealth. You know, I would love you to get to look at some information and get your feedback on it. You know, when you're doing things like that, you're more likely to attract that person. You stroked his ego. You've told him, hey, you're the type of guy that looks to make money. You're the type of guy that's interested in building wealth. So it's a bit hard for him to say, no, I'm not. No, I don't care about wealth. I don't want to build wealth. I don't want to, you know, make 6 figures. I don't want to make 7 figers because you already said that to him. So he's going to have to keep that. Yeah, I am that guy. I am the guy that wants to build generational wealth. Yes, I am a provider for my family. He's going to look really small if he backtracks. So that's one of the ways you can approach a sharp, motivated, driven male as a woman. And again, vice versa. Men talking to high value driven women. Again, the same thing. Stroke their ego. Hey, how's it going, miss? You know, I can definitely see you're serious about generational wealth. I absolutely love what you're doing online. I can see you're a motivational speaker. I can see you're an author. I've got a business that I'm working with, for which we've got a lot of amazing people from around the world. And we will definitely be able to, you know, partner together. If you bring your skill set over here, there's so many people that will get so much value from you, you know, in terms of what you're already doing, you know, as an author, what you're already doing as a motivational speaker, what you're already doing as a real estate agent. You know, I would love to show you some information because I'm looking specifically for strong women like yourself who are already building wealth through entrepreneurship. You know, you want to talk to the queen in that woman, stroke their ego in a business sense, not, hey, babes, you look really cute. That's going to get you blocked, probably. That's going to go down the wrong path. But hey, you look like someone who's serious about building generational wealth. You look like this type of entrepreneur that I would love to partner with in business. Together, I really believe we can make some serious money together. You know, so again, your verbiage, your presentation, you know, is very important. If your presentation is wrong, doesn't matter what you say. Your pictures look really attractive, really provocative. And if I'm not focused on my business, if I'm the type of guy that's chasing every skirt and tail out there. I'm looking at your pictures. You sent me a message about the comp plan. I don't care about the matrix. I don't care about the director bonus. I care about trying to get to know you, because you're selling yourself more than you're selling the business. And sex sells a lot louder than network marketing. The opportunity for sex is always going to be bigger than the opportunity for network marketing. Don't talk to me about this comp plan. When can we meet up? So again, men and women, because men can do it too. Sometimes men, I see men trying to, sell themselves, take their top off in order to get people into the business. I'm guilty. I used to do it back in the days myself. When I was a single guy, hey, let me show this six pack. I can't do it now. It's not duplicatable. I've been eating too much turkey, so I can't do it anymore. But back in the days, hey, I used to do it too. But I learned that leads you into trouble. That it's not a good way to build your business. So again, being professional, being direct, and edifying that person's business accomplishments, edifying them in terms of what they could do over here, is really, really powerful. So I think that's the final question. And again, I know we've got some directors on the line.
Yeah.
We've got Emmanuel,
Yeah.
Ricardo, Nate. There's any closing comments from anyone else? And Jay,
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in real quick, David. I'm gonna give my closing comments. I was just about to send you a message. I got an opportunity zone starting. Man, listen, I was laughing to myself that when you said take the top off, I took my top off and about 30 people quit my business. So it went the other way. Like it didn't work well
Those
at
credit
all
holds.
for me, right? It didn't work well. So keep y'all shirt on. Listen, man, real quick, my closing comments, brother. First of all, we gotta do a part 3 if you're up for it, man. Just too much energy, too many great questions coming in. So I would love for us to collaborate and do it again if you're open to it. And then the opportunity zone, like UK, US. I don't even know how that would work, but I would love to do it, man. Love to do it.
That'd be great. Yeah, we can alternate.
Absolutely.
We can do one in pound for the UK, one in dollar US. That'll be fun. Yeah,
absolutely, man. Can't wait to do it. But to everybody that's on, man, listen, be yourself for all the men, right? It's men's locker room. Be yourself, be you. Within the system, do it your way, right? PS3, right? Follow the system, but be you. You don't need anybody's permission but yours to be yourself. And that's how we win in this thing, right? It's that, man, you win in every other area of your life. You know what it takes to win. You know how to get it done. You've been in situations where you kind of had to figure out your lane and do it your way to get the mission accomplished. You got to do the exact same thing here, right? And the more you keep trying to do it everybody else's way, the more you keep trying to use, you're like, oh, that just doesn't feel natural, because it's not, right? Because you're talking too much, you're using too many words, you're not being you, right? We're simple creatures, we're simple beings, man. Keep it simple. I think the simplest man in the business is the most successful and has the largest organization in Planet Marketing, and that's Mr. Donald Bradley. Real clear about what he wants, real clear about what he does, real clear about what he provides, real clear about what you'll get when you work with him. We got to take that model and duplicate it. Fellas, I appreciate you. David, man, love you, bro. And I'll tell your brother love them as well. And I'm so apologize that I got to jump off, man.
No problem. We're going to close down now anyway, but love you too, brother. Yeah, this has been amazing. And I know we're impacting the men in a strong way. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And we'll see you. Definitely, we do another part 3. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Amazing.